This is 1219, number 1, an auxiliary view. So I'm going to kind of walk you through the steps of how to lay this out. Auxiliary views are not difficult because you do get to leave out some of the more strenuous, let's say, projections that you would normally have to do, and you'll have to create ellipse and project circles on an angle. So we don't have to do that with this auxiliary because it says draw a partial top view. So we can use a break line and break that view so all of this area here that would normally have to be projected doesn't have to be. So with this part, these dimensions on the side, you can ignore these. When we would do this inside a title block, you didn't have to do a formula anymore. It would actually let you know what your offsets were in order to start the part. So now that you do not have to do a formula and you are in a Paperspace Model Space title block, you can just start to draw. So I've changed to my object layer, and you're going to have to look on the actual pictorial, and you're going to have to look on your different views in order to find most of your dimensions. So let's start drawing this front view. And remember, you are the draftsman, so when some of this needs to be laid out on the screen, you can pick your spacing, make sure your polar is set correctly, and you can set the offsets that you need to place the views in the right spot. When you start to dimension, if it doesn't fit into the layout C, just move things around. So I have this top line. Now the distance of this line is the 1 1/16 plus the 1 inch radius of that circle. So now I can just offset everything my 1/2 inch, and that way I can connect things together and trim things out and not have to figure out too much. Now that's as much as I'm going to draw for this view. Everything else I'm going to project down to it. So in order to draw the partial top view, you decide on your spacing. I'm gonna put 2 inches because I think that would be just fine and give me plenty of room. So I'm gonna offset my depth. And now one of the things that you can do is you can break this part. So when you break the part, think about where you want to break it. If I extend to this edge, then I'm going to have to make sure I pull up this hidden view. If I move back between where that hidden line would be, then I don't have to worry about that angle and the hidden line underneath it. Now to use a break line, you are going to use spline. So you'll open up draw, click the spline, and you may want to turn off your polar and your tracking, because what you're going to do is you are going to just click some points and make this a break line. Now notice I'm kind of clicking them close together. I'm not doing a huge big giant, we're not making any big giant movements there. We're just making a nice clean break. And then I'm going to go back and trim off the extra. I'm going to turn on my polar tracking again. And now I have a nice break to show this is just a partial top view. At this point, you can start to draw in your slot for the top, pull down your hidden lines, our partial view here. So that auxiliary view, we're going to offset again. You pick. I'm going to go out about 2 inches again. The depth is 2 inches because of that radius circle. It tells you from the corner down your offset. The reason I can track is because this is at a 45-degree angle. If this is not at a 45 or a 30, something that your polar would snap to, then you need to use your perpendicular object snap when you start pulling things down. Now with this view, you have to think about what you're going to see. So that corner is going to be visible with my auxiliary view. Now you just need to put the slot in the top. It works from this 1 inch. So you may want to pull up that 1 inch line just to have a base so you can offset over your distances. So you can see it didn't take very long to draw that part. Once you put your dimensions on there, make sure you change to the correct fraction or decimal. then just start dimensioning. Now think about where some of these dimensions have to go. So instead of putting this up here on the top like it would be on the top view, I am going to place it down here at the bottom because I'm going to need this 1-inch reference line, because that's where that distance comes from. So think about where dimensions are referencing from, where they start, and dimension your part, and then you're ready to place it into your layout C. If something doesn't fit, remember you'll want to move your views around, but we've got plenty of room in order to dimension this part. But that's it. That is all you need for this auxiliary view.